grabbed them, and it was hot, and they had the long black coats on and their hats, and wow. And a bus full of American tourists pull up, and out they pull, and they get the cameras on, the ball caps and shorts and everything. And I overhear this one fella saying to his wife, and he sees all these fellas lined up, and they're standing along the Western Wall, and they're like this, and he says, "What are they doing, honey?" He says, "I don't know." He says, "Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to find out." So he walks over, and one of the gentlemen is walking away. He says, "Excuse me, sir." He says, "I'm here from visiting. I don't mean to be rude. I'm here visiting from the United States, and I saw you. All you are lined up along that wall, and you're bowing from your waist. He said, well, what are you doing?" He says, "Well, sir," he says, "I'm a rabbi, and I'm praying." He says, "Really?" He says, "Yes, sir." He says, "I've come to this very special place every day since June of 1967, when it was returned to us in a very special way." And he says, "June of 60, man, that's almost 40 years ago." He says, "And I've come here every day to pray." He says, "You come down here every day to pray for the last 40 years? "Yes, sir, I have." And he says, "Wow. Well, what do you pray for?" He says, "In the morning, I pray for peace on the earth. I pray that the Jew and the Arab, in fact, men of all races, creeds, and colors will learn to love one another, respect one another, and live in harmony and peace. At noon, I pray for an end to starvation. I pray that every child in this world will be fed. And in the evening, I pray that men of philosophy and men of science will find cures for all of the ills that plague us, and that we will be able to remove the veils of ignorance and misunderstanding that have clouded our vision, and we will be able to live together in this land of milk and honey." And he goes, "Wow, brother, that's deep. You've been down here every day for 40 years saying these prayers. How does that make you feel?" He says, "I'll tell you, it's like talking to a brick wall." Anyway. So now you know where I'm coming from. Just a little bit about myself. As Paul, I'm an actor. I'm a musician. I've been blessed and lucky enough to be able to make a living doing this. It's a tough grind. I was born and raised in St. Louis, Missouri. My dad's family were immigrants from Ireland. He was the only one born in the United States, the youngest of 8. He was the only one that graduated from grade school, high school. He spent 14 years getting a university degree, working in oil fields and every kind of job in the world. And he was a man of deep religious faith. He was when my father died a couple years ago, was March of 2002, the priest, first thing he said, "Tom Byrnes, Irish Catholic, Democrat." that was, okay, so, and, but I have an older sister and a younger sister. My older sister, Mary Frances, Jimmy, and Peggy, okay? Do you get it? My older sister, Mary Frances, was a summa cum laude graduate who spent 30 years in the Missouri in St. Louis School Board as a school librarian. And my younger sister, Peggy, started out as a music teacher and is now a school administrator. I was the one that left home and got in trouble. I went through, as I was talking to David before, I had the Sisters of Loretto from kindergarten until the 8th grade. And then I spent 6 years with the Jesuits, the Marine Corps of the Catholic Church. And in fact, I felt I had a vocation at one time myself, but sort of gave up on that. Thank goodness. And school for me was, I had an idyllic childhood, really. I must say, I had the greatest folks and a great time, and I did well in school and I didn't have a problem. And got a scholarship to go to Boston University to study theater. I wanted to be an actor from the time I was a little, I started playing music when I was 5, and before that I was already putting on shows and hey, Mom can sew, and the whole bit, And I went away to school in Boston and spent a couple of years there, and then I decided, well, I know everything, you know. And I quit school, and I went to New York to be discovered and to go on to Broadway and great things. And when I quit school, I lost my student deferment. This was 1968. And I was drafted into the United States Army, okay? And I, being this son of an immigrant, sort of, and all this stuff, oh man, the United States. And I disagreed with the war, and my father disagreed, but at the same time, we were citizens, and you know, our family motto was, you know, you don't say shit if you got your mouth full. You know, you put your head down and you did what you had to do, and yeah, you know what I'm saying. And so I tried that route, and I went and I spent when I got into the Army, this is an interesting thing. I mean, I see the same thing, the exact same thing happening today. So I came into the Army, and you take all this battery of tests, and they pulled me aside, and they said, you know, you should be an officer. What are you doing? You know, you should, you know, we want to say, I said, you know, I just want to get out of here as fast as I can. Oh, really? And so I ended up in an infantry unit where everybody was black or Hispanic or, you know, from a trailer park. You know, it was like, and then there was, my nickname was College Boy. Hey, college boy, what the are you doing here? Anyway, I'm not going to get into too much of that, but I must say that what I saw in Vietnam shook to the very core everything that I had ever been taught to believe or find precious. And the one thing that was readily available, as well as camaraderie and everything else, was heroin. And you could put it in your helmet and smoke it up, chase the dragon, as we called it. And it gave me wow, this is something else. Got away from there and came back to the United States. The minute I got off the plane in the United States, I knew I had to leave. I couldn't stay there anymore. I moved to Toronto, and I knew one person there. And I figured, well, I'll play music, and I'll do this, and I'll do that, and I'll get on TV, and I'll be famous, just like I thought back in the days in New York. And it didn't quite exactly work out that way, and I ended up with a bunch of musicians, and some of them were great, and some of them were not so great. And once again, heroin was readily available and was in the neighborhood. And I had an epiphany one night. I was with some people, and they were breaking into cars and stealing instruments. And I realized that I could not, who I was raised to be, I would not do that. I would not steal somebody's instrument to get money to feed the monkey that was on my back. And I got out of Toronto because as we all know, misery loves company. Misery loves company. And so I came to British Columbia. This was in 1971, May of 1971 I came here. And I went to Vancouver Island, and I had a job on a fish boat, and I was healthy, and I couldn't have been, life was going on great. And in February of 1972, I was in an accident on the Island Highway, and both my legs were amputated. I lost both my legs in a car accident. Actually, I'd stopped to help a guy push a stalled truck on the side of the road, or off to the side of the road during a storm. And as I was standing behind the truck pushing, somebody ran into me, and my right leg was torn off my body, and my left leg was broken in 1,000 places, and they had to take it off as well. And I'll never forget this, fellow, Dr. Gavin Brown. He's from Glad. He says, "Son, you've been in a very serious accident. We've had to amputate both of your legs." I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And anyways, I found myself in the hospital waiting for the nurse to come at night with that shot. And I had seen this happen before, and I had gotten great inspiration from Ray Charles at one time reading an interview where he said, his mother had made him, even though he was blind, it made him be tough and be hard and not accept. And I did not want to be a guy selling pencils on a street corner. And I told the doctor, you can't give me any more morphine. You can't give me any more of those drugs. I got to get through this by myself because I'm not a guy that wants to sell pencils on the side of the road. And it was, in some ways, I don't think it was me. I think it was my father's faith and my mother's faith and their faith in me that got me through all this. I didn't believe myself as much as they believed in me, but I knew I had to be the son that they had raised. And somehow or another got through that part, and I'm stubborn as a mule. And, my dream had been to be an actor and to be the famous actor and all this stuff. And I couldn't get arrested as an actor when I got out of the hospital, but I could play the guitar and I could sing. And this was the great gift that I had been given. I mean, it's seriously a fantastic gift that I had been given, and something that had been nurtured in me, and something that, back in the day when I used to tell my uncle, my dad worked for the city hall. My uncle Ray was a fireman. My uncle Arthur was a policeman. I want to be an actor. And as I used to say, it's not really a man's job, is it, Jimmy? But they were willing to accept me as a musician. And anyway, that's kind of how I got here this evening. And I've had success in my life, and it's only been because of the people that believed in me and how they taught me to believe in myself, and how they taught me to accept my limitations and to enjoy what was around me, and to have faith, and to be good to other people. And those seven that little list of 7 things that Paul gave us have been the fact that I can stand here in front of you and tell jokes is because I have accepted all those things in my heart. And it's so great to be here, just because everybody here, really cares about, has got deep emotions and really cares about what's going on, and it's air conditioned. So let's see how this works. My guitar had come in from, the weather, being in this environment, it's kept going out of tune. So hopefully it's been sitting there for a little while and it's gonna settle down, be okay. Got this guitar new in 1962. My father, Tom Byrnes, bought it for me. So. It's this tuning thing when the weather's funny. I'm going to start off with a tune. This is actually from my the brand new CD, House of Refuge. And now, we've got a lot of gospel stuff on it, and there's a lot of heavy Christian symbolism on it. I'm not evangelizing. I'm not proselytizing in any way. This is just some of the stuff that I grew up with. And I thought Peter McKnight made a great, a few weeks ago in the Vancouver Sun, said a great thing in his column where it says, it's not what you say you believe in, it's how you behave. This is a great song by a kid out of Toronto named Justin Rutledge. And when I heard this song, we were recording. My producer brought me some songs to hear, and I heard this, and it reminded me so much of. It's about your father and about many important things in our life. Lay me down, sweet Jesus, by the trembling skyline, by the fox's vineyard, by the snowman's eye. Lay me down with the black boys, lay me down with the blue boys, and lay me down in the sweetness of my Father's arms. Lay me down, sweet Jesus, by the fever of your cold feet, where the soil goes hungry, where the pretty worms hide. Lay me down by the highway, by the messianic road map. Lay me down in the sweetness of my Father's arms. Lay me down, sweet Jesus, by the muddy river Jordan, by the teeth of pianos, by the punk rock band. Lay me down by the of the paper boy's parents, and lay me down in the sweetness of my Father's arms. Lay me down, sweet Jesus, in the holy war zones, by Jerusalem's cancer, by my baby's blood. Lay me down by the pasture where your cross is gathered. Lay me down in the sweetness of my Father's arms. Lay me down in the sweetness of my Father's arms. Thank you. From the other side of the coin, the songwriting process, you know, the creative process, it's a funny thing. This is a song, I was on the series Highlander for a number of years, and it was a great opportunity because I got to be home for 13 episodes. We would shoot 13 episodes every year in Vancouver, so I got to go home from work at night, which for an actor is a special thing. You're always on the road. But when we were on location, we used to spend 3 months every year in Paris, France. At somebody else's expense, it was okay. Okay. And one night, a night of debauchery led to this little tune here. Had been out with a couple of, we'd had a tough long week and went out on a Friday night after our last shoot and ended up coming home quite late, and my wife was flying over the next day, and I had to get up early, and so I was sitting down on the Boulevard Saint-Michel, literally had a cup of coffee, and I flipped over the little napkin, and I wrote the words to this song, flat out. I've done this on a couple of tunes I did tonight, were done exactly the same way. Wrote the words on the napkin, and went back and to the hotel and got my guitar out, and this is a song that's called All Over You, and it's about debauchery in France, okay? I'm gonna spend all of my money, I'm gonna go home late, I'm gonna try one of everything that they put on my plate. I'm gonna flash my pearly grin All over this town, I'm going to whisper to the women when the lights go down. I'm gonna lay down and shimmy, stand up and shout, and all is all about. Well, I might not speak the lingo, I might not know all the rules, I might not have all the learning that some of these other boys do. But when that fire gets to rising, that fire get to burning real hot, baby, this is a man that's got something these other boys, they just ain't got no. Yes, I'm gonna spend all of my money. I'm gonna go home late. I'm gonna try one of everything that they put on my plate. I'm gonna flash my pearly grin all over this town. I'm going to whisper to the women when the lights go down. I'm gonna lay down and shimmy, stand up and shout. I wanna show all these women what love is all about. I'm gonna sing when I'm happy and moan when I'm blue. Then I'm gonna do it all over, baby, all over you, all over you, baby. All over you, all over you, baby. This is all over you, all over you. Thank you. This is another tune that grew out of a very different sort of Parisian experience. One day, luckily we were staying in nice places and in nice neighborhoods. And I love going into no matter how you feel about organized religion, and I have extremely mixed emotions about it. There's something about going into a church or any place of worship that's been there for, say, close to 1,000 years. And the people who have come have brought their hearts and their souls and their hopes and their dreams and their joy and their sorrow, and everyone who's come through has kind of left a piece of themselves in there. And one day I was in the church of Saint-Germain, and the bell tower there was started in 1134. So this was an old place of worship. And some kids came in, and they were from Central America. They were from Costa Rica, actually, and they were on a pilgrimage. And they were making their way around Europe, and they were going to end up in Santiago de Compostela in Spain, the shrine of St. James, who is the patron saint of the pilgrimage, for those who don't know. You can put that down in your notebook. And they were stopping at different churches where were their patron saints, the names of their and having and there was about 12 of them. They were with a couple of chaperones, and they sang a little folk mass. And this was in the afternoon. I had just happened to walk in to the church, and they were in the midst of this, and it was so beautiful. And I walked away from that with the idea of our life as a pilgrimage. And by the time I had gotten back to the hotel once again, I had put this song together. It's called "I'm Just a Pilgrim on the Side of the Road." This road to the harbor is all that I know. I'm here at the cross. Which way do I go? I have been lost, sometimes found. Down this road, that's where I'm bound with all of these others. And we all travel alone. Lord, I'm just a pilgrim on the side of the road. Yeah, Lord, I'm a pilgrim on the side of the road. This road to the harbor is paved without tears. I've been out here walking, Lord, it seemed like long years. Wondering how can it be that they all be just like me, all of these others, though we all travel alone. Lord, I'm just a pilgrim on the side of the road. Yeah, Lord, I'm a pilgrim on the side of the road. Please don't let me find, Lord, that I've been left behind. Hope I'm gonna reach the end before this dark night closes in. This road to the harbor, out here under the sun. I'm tired, Lord, I am weary, my race halfway run. But I will soldier on, even when my hope is all gone. With all of these others, we have to travel alone. Lord, I'm just a pilgrim on the side of the road. Well, Lord, I'm a pilgrim standing at the side of the bus. And sometimes I need a little help on my journey. Oh, I'm just a pilgrim on the side of the road. Side of the road. Thank you. This is one that we put together last November. I was in Vilnius, Lithuania for 5 weeks. Quite an interesting place, doing a film. The people in Lithuania have been to hell and back, and I got a great strength from being with them. And this is a song that I wrote based on I guess it's the 27th Psalm of David. If you are with me, of whom shall I be afraid? I will go wherever you lead me, on rivers of roses or rain. I will follow the signs that you lead me, the mysteries of joy and of pain. I will search for the light in the darkness, though I stumble through shadow and shade. Oh, if you are with me, of whom shall I be afraid? Oh, if you are with me, of whom shall I be afraid? You have picked me up when I've fallen. You have driven the ghost from my door. You have comforted me in my sorrow, wiped my brow when I've been sick and sore. You have shared in all of my triumphs and blessed the crops that we laid. Oh, if you are with me, of whom shall I be afraid? Oh, if you are with me, of whom shall I be afraid? I have wondered at your sacrifice as I stood at the gates of dawn. Just to love one another was your advice, and that keeps me moving on. We will stand at the rock together, hold fast and ride out the storm. We will sing in the rain and windy weather, and we will come to no harm. We will wash in the love and forgiveness that came with the price that you paid. Oh, if you are with me, of whom shall I be afraid? Oh, if you are with me, of whom shall I be afraid? Oh, if you are with me, of whom shall I be afraid? I'm never gonna be afraid. I don't have to be afraid. Never be afraid, no, never be afraid, my life. Never be afraid. I'll never be afraid. Never be afraid. Never be afraid. Thank you. Appreciate it. You know, there's great music has come out of New Orleans, and I think that a lesson has been learned by everybody about where everyone's priorities are when the great storm that happened last year. But the strength of the people in New Orleans has been wonderful. I've got family down there, and this is a favorite New Orleans tune. This is one that came out when I was a senior in high school, and this was sort of our big tune back then, and it's stuck with me till this day. From Aaron Neville, recorded in 1966. It goes like, if you want something to play with, go out and find yourself a toy. Baby, my time is too expensive, and I am not a little boy. If you are serious, don't play with my heart, it make me furious. But if you want someone to really love you, baby, I will. Girl, don't you know that I will? Tell it like it is. Just tell it like it is, baby. Go on down and let your conscience be your guide. 'Cause I know deep down inside of me, I know you really love me. We forget our foolish pride. This is the part I like. Life is too short to have sorrow. You and I, we may be here today and gone tomorrow. You might as well get what you want. Go on and live, baby, go on and live. But tell it like, why don't you tell it like it is? And oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why do we have to say goodbye? Okay, that puts me in mind of another one since we're just here relaxing. You okay? Everything all right? You having fun? Okay, good. This is another song that I just love. You know, I love doo-wop music growing up when I did in the 60s. And I love my doo-wop, okay? Now, there was a group that had a hit in 1956. They were called the Heartbeats. And they had a song called 1,000 Miles Away. And went on the road, all his tunes, you know. And then the lead singer, James Shepard, he got drafted into the Army, went into the Army, came back after all his time, and started a group of his own called Shep and the Limelights. Where did they get this stuff? It's too cool. And now Shep wrote this tune, and this was the big hit for them, and it's a song about it was an answer to 1,000 Miles Away, and it's a song about the pain of separation and the joy of being home. Okay? You're my love, you're my angel, the girl of my dreams. I'd like to thank you for waiting patiently. Now Daddy's home, your daddy's home to stay. How I've waited for this moment to be by your side. Your best friend wrote and told me you had teardrops in your eyes. Now Daddy's home, your daddy's home to stay. It wasn't a Sunday, Monday and Tuesday went by Wasn't on a Tuesday afternoon. All I could do was cry. Made a promise that you I've made it back to all of you. How I've waited for this moment to be by your side. Your best friend wrote and told me you had teardrops in your eye. Now daddy's home. Your daddy's home to stay. La 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 la. Shadow up. La 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 la. Shadow up. La 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 la. Shadow up. La 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 la. It wasn't a Sunday, Monday and Tuesday went by. Wasn't on a Tuesday afternoon. All I could do was cry. Made a promise that you treasured. Now do I've made it back to all of la 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 la. And I've waited for this moment to be by your side. Your best friend wrote and told me you had teardrops in your eye. Now daddy's home. Your daddy's home to stay. Your daddy's home to stay. Now daddy's home to stay. I'm not 1,000 miles away, and thank you. I'm going to leave you with one here. This is the song that I call this the song that saved my life. The little bit we talked about being in Vietnam earlier. Now the sergeant we had, Sergeant Truesdale, and he was a black man from the state of Oklahoma, and he was the paradigm of an infantry soldier. He was a lean, clean fighting machine. I'm telling you, he was. But now he found out that I played the guitar, and we were on a stand down, and so the guitarist showed up somewhere, and he says, "College boy, somebody tells me you play the guitar. You play blues guitar." And I said, "Well, yes, Sergeant, I do." And he said, "Well, let me hear some." So I played him some Muddy Waters tunes, some Jimmy Reed tunes, and some. So he wasn't impressed at all. What he wanted to hear was blues from the other side of the country. He says, "You know who my favorite is?" He says, "He's Johnny Cash." And so. So I did this little number for him, and, you know, and honest to God, he kept me out of harm's way. Anytime stuff would go bad, he'd go, "College boy, sing me my song." And I would sing him this tune, and he kept me out of harm's way because I could sing that he wanted to hear this song. And so I want to share it with you before we go away, okay? I hear that train a-coming,
rolling around the bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. Lord, I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on. And I hear that train a-rolling on down to San Antonio. When I was just a baby, my mother told me, son, always be a good boy and don't ever play with guns. Lord, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Now I hear that train a-rolling, I hang my head and cry. And I bet there's rich folks eating in some fancy dining car. I bet they're drinking coffee and smoking big cigars. Lord, I know I had it coming. I know I can't be free. But those people keep on moving, and that's what tortures me. So if they freed me from this prison, if that railroad train was mine, I bet that I would move a little further down the line, Lord, far from Folsom Prison. That's where I want to stay. I'm gonna let that lonesome whistle drive my blues away. I'm gonna let that lonesome whistle drive my blues away. I'm gonna let that lonesome whistle drive my blues away. Thank you so much. Go well. Do well. Thank you, Paul. And thank all of you so much. We hope you enjoyed your evening. Hope you enjoyed the whole weekend. It's great to have you all here, and thank you. Appreciate it.